Hi, boys and girls. Many of you just finished watching the clip sharing the book Frida. Well, we're going to continue on in this clip talking about the Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. Now, she is known for her self portraits, so let's dig in right away and be inspired by this awesome artist. Say hello, Frida Kahlo. As you can see, this picture is black and white. And now it's not black and white because somebody had a little fun on Instagram. It's black and white because Frida Kahlo lived long ago, okay? She's not alive anymore. We learned in the book that she didn't always have an easy life, but art was a part of it always, whether it was the inspiration from her father and working with him, or when there were times when she couldn't get out of bed because she was sick and didn't feel well, art was there for her as a coping skill. I see Frida Kahlo as a very brave, strong artist. I love that she didn't complain when life was down and not so fun. Instead, she used art to take those emotions and put them in and share with the world her feelings. In these self-portraits, we can see that Frida Kahlo really does a great job of focusing in and drawing herself the way she sees herself. I'm going to challenge you to do that today as well, boys and girls. In this picture, we see a monkey and a bird as part of her picture. Now, unless we're at the zoo in Minnesota, we're not really seeing monkeys out on the street, are we? Or these plants back here, the vegetation. These are all clues without us even knowing that Frida's not from Minnesota, right? We know she's a Mexican artist, which means she's from Mexico. I love that Frida includes fancy hairstyles, her cool jewelry, and truly drawing herself the way she sees herself as an individual, okay? Let's go ahead and look at some more examples. All right. I feel like Frida Kahlo also liked to dress up fancy, right? Not just the fancy hair and jewelry, but she also sometimes included lipstick and the fancy dresses or scarves. Now, do you notice how she's not smiling? Me too. She looks pretty serious in these. When you draw your self-portrait today, are you going to be serious or smiling? Oh my goodness, we can absolutely tell in these examples of her work that she loves animals. We also know from the book that she loves science as well, so it completely makes sense that she would include these details for us. Many of you have noticed Frida's eyebrows. Again, celebrating things that make us us. Frida drew herself the way she saw herself. So this is something that she wanted to make sure she included. Here's a student example of a self-portrait made by a first grader. Now my kindergarten, first, second, and third graders are making this artwork together today. So what that means, if you have a little brother or sister, you set them up next to you. Each of our work is going to look different, and that is okay. In my instructions that I'm going to be giving you, you're going to notice that I do a little breakdown, so there'll be something for each of you. Right now is the opportunity for you to pause this video, get yourself a pencil, your white drawing paper, so look through that packet, find your white drawing paper, and if you would like to and you have a handheld mirror, you may get that, but you do not have to have it, and crayons as well. All right, go ahead and pause the video. Okay, welcome back. Now, we want to work on our self-portrait on this white drawing paper. You're going to notice it's a nice thick paper that I sent home for you. And the reason why is because self-portraits, parents and families love to keep them. It's so fun that when you're a senior in high school to be able to look back at your self-portrait and how you saw yourself as a first grader, okay? So I want nice light artist hands today with that pencil so that if you need to do any erasing, you'll be able to. But I also want you to take a deep breath with me. Blow it out. Because we're going to try our hardest today. Okay? We're going to be brave artists knowing that this won't be easy, but we're up for the challenge. Okay, so I talked about using as much of this paper as possible. You can see I have mine folded in half. You may open yours up and draw it really big if you want to. That's completely up to you, but I do want it the tall way. I want it vertical, okay, friends? Because of the space that I have with my Elmo, I'm going to be doing half the size, but I'm still going to be making sure that my picture is using the majority of the paper. We're focusing in on the bust. So that means your head and shoulders, okay? All right, first things first. Think about what shape is your head. Is it a oval? Is it a circle? Let's go ahead, let's get some details down to start drawing the shape of our head. We are focusing in on the head and the shoulders, so guess what? My head is going to take up most of the page. Notice how I'm not sweating, drawing more than one line, am I? No, sirree, I'm drawing them nice and light. Okay? Then you're going to watch me come down, and I'm going to draw what's going to look like a smile, but it's going to be my chin. Okay? At any point in time, boys and girls, pause the video so that you're able to stay with me in the process. From the top part of my head down to my chin, I'm going to curve a line. This is going to represent my jawline. Okay? Next up, I need to decide where my eyes go. Now, if I were to break down my head into 3 parts, 1, 2, or 3, where would you guess those eyes go? If you said 2, you are correct. Now, I know that for my 3rd grade students, you're thinking, this is a review for me. But guess what? Artists draw many self-portraits of themselves. They don't just draw one and then never do another one. That's why this lesson is important to me, that all my kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders do it. You're going to see improvement in your fine motor skills, and it is so good for us to practice. All right, here we go. Back to those eyeballs. I want you to take your fingers right now, and I want you to measure your eye. Okay? When you have that measurement, I want you to take your fingers here for me and kind of decide how far apart they are. We're going to use our fingers today for placement. I know this shape of my head is not the size of my real head, is it? So I might have to shift the sizing of my original eye measurement. Okay? So for example, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to come down in the center of my paper with 2 fingers. I'm going to put a little dot on either side, because I know that my eyes are an eye length apart. So then I'm going to go ahead, put a little dot. These are some artist tricks that you can use to help make your face very proportional. Now, I also want to continue to use that great vocabulary and our tips and tricks that we use in the classroom, right? So let's go ahead and make a rainbow shape eye. So you're going to curve a line for the top of your eye and then connect it with a smiley face. Well, that's silly because we're not really making a smiley face. We're making eyes, right? Now, eyes is definitely going to be a spot where I encourage my artists to go ahead and pause the video, okay? What I want to show right now for you is a couple examples, because if you have a mirror, you might be like, Mrs. McDonald, my eyes are bigger than that. So you'll do the dot trick. You'll go ahead and you'll make your arch, that rainbow arch, a little bit bigger, okay? And connect, okay? If you're like, my eyes are smaller, I'll go ahead and I'll draw those lines a little closer together. We want to celebrate you being you. Maybe you're like, my eyes are more like lemon drops. Whoop. And you can't forget your eyelashes. They got to curl, boys and girls. Give them a little curl. Doesn't matter if you are a boy or girl. And also, don't forget your eyebrows. If you have thick eyebrows, I want to see thick eyebrows. If you have thin eyebrows, I want to see thin. Some of you might choose to draw lines to represent them, where others might go ahead and just do the outline and color them in later. That is completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead as I'm adding in my circles. I want to show a highlight where the light is hitting in my eye. Okay, those eyelashes, eyebrows, and we know eyebrows and eyelashes are important. Why? What do they do? I hear you right now. You're saying they help to protect your eyes, and you are correct. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's come down to our nose. You have a couple options for your noses. Kindergarten, 1st graders, I want you to make sure you try the tricky nose too, okay? But this nose right here, where it's a lot like an L, almost like I'm trying to make a triangle, right? A little curve to show my nostril, the edge of my nostril. This is option 1. Option 2 is going to be where you go ahead, ready, back to how we like to break things down. Smiley face, rainbow, rainbow, seas. I want to. The light is so bright. Can you guys see that a little better? Okay, I'll press a little harder. So that's kind of like the bridge of my nose, right? Let's go ahead and see on here. So touch your nose. Touch the tip of your nose right now. Do you feel like it's like a ball? Okay, you're going to draw the bottom half of it. You're going to represent your two nostrils, and you're going to curve around the edge. Okay? The start of your nose. This is great practice, boys and girls. Later on in life, when we're talking about highlights and shadows and shading, we'll be able to add more detail. Okay, we are going to pause here because you're going to see a clip 2 come where we're going to work on our mouths and our hair. Great job, boys and girls. Take a little break, shake out those fingers before you start on clip 2. Go ahead one more time with me. Say Frida Kahlo.